was wondering how you would take it if I was to propose that this whole thing was about fear and control. More fear than control. And I guess I would preface that by also proposing to you that there are things around you that live on emotions and energies. And fear and all of its offshoots, sadness, loneliness, anger, sickness, disease, they thrive on those energies and do all that they can to perpetuate them. I mean, the sensible thing for you to do would be to take a step back from me. Give me a bit of a funny look. If you'd like your world to stay in any way the same as it's been for the last little while, that's a smart move. Because once you start looking into these sort of things, your life and your world change, and they don't change back. And there's no good or bad in that, it just is. But I was just wondering, was my father, and probably grandfather as well, always had the saying, could you explain it to a man from Mars? If a man from Mars or Venus landed, it always seemed to be a man in their story. Could you explain it to them? And if you couldn't explain it in a way that it would make sense to someone not just from your city or your country or your language group, but from your actual planet, but still a being, 2 legs, 2 arms, a head, roughly, living in community with other beings, if you couldn't explain it to that being and have it make sense, then it probably doesn't make a lot of sense. That's not a bad rule of thumb, if not to live by, at least to just examine your own beliefs and the things that you get told from day to day. So I was kind of thinking, with all the news and the energies and the feelings swirling around at this point in time, March, April 2020, coming into May. Oh my goodness, where did the first 4 months of this year go? It really seems to me that it doesn't matter what you believe is true or not true at this point, because this is an event that's got something for everybody. Any conspiracy, any idea, any belief, any knowledge that you thought you had, sneaking suspicion, this event is going to cement it or completely destroy it, one way or the other. Like, there's just so many facets to this thing that we're observing at the moment that I don't actually think that's the point. I think the point is fear. And so if you're in fear, and the way that you stop being in fear is to imagine that a vaccine or something will be developed that will help mitigate what's going on and make everyone better, and that's how you get through the rest of your day without fear, go with that. That's great. And if you're in fear of vaccines getting developed and what that could mean, and surveillance states and all of that stuff, then go with the fact that they'll never get a vaccine developed for it, and there's nothing going on anyway, and there's some other, whatever truth, whatever light is getting shone in a dark place, go with it. But just find the way that you can twist this Rubik's Cube around to look at it without fear towards your life and the life of the people that you love, because there are so many angles and facets, and I have been trained from birth to dig into every single angle, most of which are not relevant to me or the people around me, just out of pure interest and perhaps even cussedness. Some might say, who know me, and argumentativeness even. And it doesn't matter which angle you push on, there's something there. It's amazing. And so I would suggest that whatever you need to believe that brings you to the opposite point of fear, that gives you trust and love and a feeling of, security is a slippery word because there really isn't any, but the feeling of security, the feeling of knowing that even though you know there's no such thing as security, you're secure in yourself. Then lean on that. Lean into that. Because there are things out here, in here, that you can't see but you can feel, that thrive on fear and all of its offshoots. And they're starting to starve for whatever reason. And they're getting really hungry. And they're really getting loud. And so the best thing you can do in that situation is find yourself at the opposite end of that, which is faith in whatever way that comes to you, and trust and love. Talk to you soon. Bye.